I just got a brand new printer, and before you judge me too hard, hear me out, because this printer is answering all of my crafting prayers, and I know it'll answer yours. If you are a serious crafter, you have been wishing for the best all-in-one type of printer because you are tired of buying a bunch of different printers. In this craft room, before I got this brand new printer, I had an inkjet printer that I had to use for all of my cardstock and vinyl and sticker papers and such. Then I also had a black toner printer that I needed in order to make foil stamping sheets for like really cool invitations, wedding invitations, and such. Then I had a sublimation printer, and then on top of it, I was looking into getting a DTF printer. 4 printers. That's what I was looking to get inside this craft room. Instead, what I did was I threw every single one of those away and got this printer right here because this printer does all of it. Yeah. You heard that right. This particular printer right here not only prints on your cardstock, your sticker paper, your vinyl, your window clean, your tattoo paper, anything that you can print with an inkjet printer, this printer can print, but there's more here. This printer also has the ability to be a white toner printer. Having the ability to print on white toner will give you items that look like this. I'm sure you've seen them before out and about, or even for wedding invitations. It's extremely popular in the wedding invitation sector. But what it is a black or dark colored cardstock that is directly printed on top of. This is not UV printed. This is actually printed with a white toner printer. This thing right here will do exactly that, but that doesn't just stop there. What this printer also does is create transfers that are like DTF transfers. Now let's time out here because I've learned a whole lot about the DTF transfers, printers, and that entire sector of crafting. The one thing that I've learned about the DTF printers is that the powder itself is actually really toxic. You can do your own research for it, but that's just something that I wasn't willing to be brought into my new craft room. Also, DTF printers require a ton of maintenance, and it's really costly, and your downtime is terrible. With this printer right here, there is absolutely zero maintenance. Zero, which is fabulous. Now, are the prints over here exactly the same as a DTF print? No, it's not, and we will get into that. I will show you exactly how we create really cool garments with using this printer. But what I do want to say is that the end results of this printer gives you items like this. A black shirt with this printed on top of it. Zero weeding. If you know anything about me, you do know I don't like to maintain any type of equipment. And 2, I cannot stand weeding any type of vinyl. If I have to weed it, it ain't happening. I have been on the search for a weedless something that I could make really cool t-shirts with and never have to weed anything, and my prayers are finally answered. So not only is this a white toner printer that you can print your cardstock and stuff with, but a regular toner printer that will print all your cardstock and stuff as well, it also prints DTF-like transfers with no harsh chemicals, and then not only does it do all that, it also is a sublimation printer with zero maintenance. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you do know that I hate sublimation. Why? Because my printer always clogged. And when my printer clogs and then I have to do maintenance, we have a problem. But not anymore. Simply switching out the toner cartridges that are already installed here with the sublimation toner that you can purchase, it is now a sublimation printer. So we have now taken 4 different printers and put them all into one printer. So if you are a crafter that has a small space, because now I am a crafter that has a small space, so I have to really think logical about what I am putting into my craft room. This right here eliminated so many printers for me. Now, there is going to be a little bit of a discussion here about the size capabilities of what this printer can print. Okay, but hear me out, because this particular printer has this software. It's called Smart Cut. I'm going to show you how easy it is to use, but just to give you a little sneak peek, this printer printed an extremely large DTF-like transfer without any issues. So while the print capabilities of this is only about 8.5 by 11 or so, I was able to create a design that's actually 12 by 13 inches. And I could have definitely went larger. So if you're trying to create your own custom blankets, and let's say your blanket is 70 inches by 80 inches, you can totally use the Smart Cut software with this printer in order to make really large transfer sheets that would cover your entire blanket, just like I did to fill up this shirt. And it was actually really easy. Ooh, the one thing that I forgot to mention here is that with the toner that's already included with this printer, your prints are actually going to be waterproof and UV resistant. So you know how when we make stickers with our inkjet printer and we have to cover them with some sort of laminate sheet to make sure that our stickers hold up? This right here, you don't have to prep anything afterwards or do anything more. When it comes out of the printer, if you are using sticker sheets and you cut them, they are now waterproof and UV resistant. That's right. So if you make window clings for cars, it's UV resistant. But I really, truly, honestly think the selling point here for me and for anyone else that wants to make really cool items with shirts and don't want to weed vinyl like me, this right here was frustration free. Turned out absolutely amazing, zero issues. I had a done shirt within 5 minutes, y'all. 5 minutes. That is wild. So with that being said, let me unbox this printer with you, show you a little bit of the software, make a whole t-shirt with my brand new heat press that I'm going to talk about, and then you're going to be sold on a brand new printer. You're going to get rid of all the other printers that you have in your craft room, and you're going to get this one. I promise you. Let's go. Now, while this printer looks extremely large, it's not that heavy and is a one-man lift. However, the brand new heat press that I got needs and requires 2 people. Anyway, going back over to the printer, it comes with this laminated sheet. This is very important. It not only gives you the directions of how to set up the printer, but also has your software key and registration numbers and stuff like that that are very important to registering your product and using the software. So you want to make sure and keep this paper, 1, to follow the directions on how to set it up, but 2, for the product registration. Also, I think that something that is really cool with the purchase of this printer, it comes with this masterclass. To be honest with you, because I'm pretty tech savvy, I barely have looked at the masterclass because, again, I'm tech savvy. But for the crafters that aren't very tech savvy, this printer in itself has a lot of uses, many, many, many uses. And so if you were at all curious on what all this printer is capable of, in the masterclass, there is a tutorial for everything, and you get it all for free with the purchase of this printer, which is great. If you remember correctly, in my craft room tour that I did a few months ago on this particular desk that I am putting my new heat press and printer on, it did have my HTV raw auto heat press 2, my UV laser engraver, and also my paper guillotine cutter. I have since obviously taken all of the other stuff like the HTV raw auto heat press, I put back in storage. The UV laser engraver I also put back in storage. And the guillotine cutter, I just found another AV cart to put that one on because I definitely needed to make room for the printer, but also this heat press. This heat press is absolutely massive. Originally, when I had the HV Raw Auto heat press, I was able to have the heat press come like at me, towards me from the front of the desk. I don't know why I thought I was going to be able to do that with this one because you can see that that is definitely not the case. This thing is no joke. It's 150 pounds, I believe. So heavy and really big. The press or the platen part of that is actually way bigger than the auto heat press too. So there's a plus. Now, I'm sure you're questioning why in the world did I get a new heat press? So here's the deal. With this printer, if you plan on doing these DTF-like transfers, and to be honest with you, if you're doing any type of DTF transfers, the one thing that you are going to find is that you're going to need real good and even pressure. Unfortunately, with the HTV Raw Auto Heat Press 2, while you do and can customize the pressure settings of the heat press,
one, which I had an issue with the very first HTV auto heat press, was that the functionality of it eventually went out. And so I had to upgrade to the second one. But then the second one, you still can't customize the pressure as much as what you need to. So like the DTF-like transfers that I have to do, some like when you prep it have to be medium, and then you need to bump it down to light and then back to heavy. So there's going to be a lot of times where you have to adjust the pressure settings, and you can't necessarily do that with the auto heat press too. Plus the even heating elements. This one in particular has really good ratings on constantly being able to heat up evenly, and there's a lot of warranty that goes with anyways. What I have been told is that the higher quality heat press that you have, the higher quality finished results that you will have in your products. And while I am all for things being budget friendly, the one thing that I do preach around here in this craft room is that we have budget friendly crafts, but professionally looking. So if I can't get those type of finished products with the lower quality heat press, then obviously we're going to have to bump this up. The other thing too is that when you upgrade into a nicer heat press, the chances of you getting a like crappy end result is going to be slim to none because you have such a good heat press.
Okay, let's talk about the software real quick because it's going to look a little confusing to you on my computer. So all of my computers in my craft room are Mac computers. The software that comes with this printer, it is a RIP software. I have no idea what that actually means, but what I do know is that RIP softwares only work on Windows computers. So if you already have a Windows computer, rest assured that you're not going to have to do anything extra. However, I have a Mac computer, okay? So my decision here is to be less wasteful was to download what is called a parallel on my Mac computer. When you download the parallel, it's $100 a year. Then what you have to do is go over to the Microsoft website and buy a license. The license is $100. It's a one-time fee. You never have to buy it again. So altogether, I have now spent $200 on a parallel, $100 a year every year, and then also the Microsoft license. When you do that, what you should be able to do is run the RIP software on your Mac computer using the Microsoft Parallel. I'm pretty sure I probably lost you if you're not computer savvy. What I would strongly suggest to you, and the reason why I said the prices out loud to you is because this is actually really important. $100 every single year plus the $100 expense for the Windows license. There is going to be a cost. And if you are serious about using this printer and the software, you might as well just go out and buy yourself a really cheap Windows computer so you can pair it up with this. Because in the long run, you'll actually save a bunch of money doing that versus doing what I did. I just didn't want to be wasteful and buy a computer that would only be used with this printer. So I decided to essentially go the hard way. So the things that I do in my video, like dragging and dropping files and stuff like that, is going to be a lot different if you are just a Windows user. If you are not using a parallel like me, then things are going to be a lot smoother for you. It is not impossible, and I'll show you, it's not impossible to use a Microsoft parallel situation, but just know that if you are a Mac user like me, you may have some additional expenses that you didn't really think of when purchasing this printer.
Before we open up the iColor ProRip Essentials software, what I want to do is head over to my favorite spot where I get any type of PNG files, and that is Creative Fabrica. Now, the ProRip Essentials program that you get with your printer does not have a design software. This is only to print off of. So what I have to do is go over to something like Creative Fabrica or design my own and then download the PNG file. Now this step is only going to be necessary if you're using the parallel like me. I have to open up the PNG file that I just downloaded, drag and drop it into the Microsoft Windows program that I'm using in the parallel. Okay. I just add it right to my desktop. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to open up the ProRip Essentials program that comes with your printer. Now all I have to do is drag and drop that PNG file into the ProRip Essentials software. The software is automatically going to adjust and take away any type of background or anything, turning this into a printable file that I can use with my white toner printer. Over on the right, you're going to see a little drop-down box that says print mode, and then you're going to see the two-step standard. This right here is the two-step that I'm going to have to do in order to do the white toner DTF-like prints for that shirt that I'm going to make. So when you have that media already selected, what the software already does is make the image already mirrored for you, just like a traditional like HTV print if you had your Cricut. The other thing that you have to make sure and do is select your page side mode, because you definitely want to put this on the correct type of paper that you're going to be printing on. Now let's head over into the artwork tab, and this is where you're going to be able to rotate your image, and then you can auto enlarge this design. So if you wanted this design to fill up your entire page, it's the bottom right with the little guy and the outline of the box around it. This button automatically fills up your entire page with the decal or the image that you just put onto your screen. Then what you can do is on the bottom left is you can change the background. So you see how mine was black, and then I changed it over to pink. This is pretty much going to show you like what your final project is going to look like. So if I had it on the black, that means that I'm going to put it on a black shirt. So this design is going to look like this on a black shirt. Now it's pink, so this design is going to look like this on a pink shirt, if that makes sense. Now, towards the top middle, you're going to see a white page. If you click on this, this is what your white toner will print. And then you click the next one, and this is going to be what the color will print. And then when you click this, this is what we were just looking at. This is what it should look like when you put it on a pink shirt. And then the next little thing is what the original image looked like. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch over my pink to black, just because that's the type of shirt that I'm going to be pressing this on, is a black shirt. But I have to tell you that this is not a necessary step. The final image will not have black printed onto it at all. Okay. The other thing that I do want to mention, and I did say this before, but I do want to just acknowledge it again, that this software that is essential to print off of your printer, your white toner printer, it is not a design software. So we're not going to be doing any type of designing with this software. You simply just get your PNG files from another place, you create them or use Creative Fabrica, drag and drop it, and then you set up the final like prints onto the software, and then you press print. Now that we've set everything up, now it's time to print. So this sheet, this like frosty little sheet, this is what we are going to print on. The matte side is the side that we print on. You're going to have to put this into the bypass tray, and the bypass tray is the print side down. Do not put this sheet inside the actual large tray. Ask me how I know, because I tried and it jammed. Once you have the transfer paper loaded into the bypass tray, then you just come over here and press the little printer button on the software. Ooh, I forgot to mention earlier that you can use this printer via Wi-Fi. You don't actually have to plug it into your computer, which I absolutely loved. So I just sent my print via Wi-Fi from my laptop over to the printer, and then it just prints. This is what the final print looks like. It doesn't look like a whole bunch, but the magic happens when you're able to press this onto a black shirt and you can still see the design. Unlike sublimation prints where you would have to still cut HTV and do a whole bunch of little hacks in order to be able to see the design on a dark shirt. No longer do I have to do any of that. Also, I no longer have to weed or cut any type of HTV, which is a dang blessing for me. Now, while I waited for that previous design to print, I went ahead and found another PNG file over on Creative Fabrica, and I'm going to do the same steps as I did before. I just opened up my PNG file, dragged and dropped it into my windows, and then I dragged and dropped it into the Essentials software. Let the machine, or I guess the software, load up my PNG file. Now, this particular design, I want to create it larger than a standard print size would be able to. So how you do that is after you load it into the Essentials software, is you click on your image, right click, and press split image using Smart Cut. A new box is going to pop up. So you're going to want to make this large. And then what you want to do is add in first, you want to change your image to the finished size of the image that you want. So if you want a 13-inch finished design, then make sure and put that in there. And then toggle over to split. When you're over in split, you're going to see a pink and a blue first and second. For the first one, you're going to put in this page size that you're going to print on. And then for the second one, you're going to do the same exact thing. Now for me, I'm only going to print on 2 pages, and it's going to get kind of confusing. So I'm going to leave this for a future video. But this is where you're going to be able to make a print size extremely large to fit like a really big blanket. And then you're going to keep splitting your item until you get the final end results that will print on a whole bunch of smaller size papers, if that makes any sense. So to keep this super easily understandable, I am just going to do 2 sheets of papers, finished papers. Okay. So I have my final image size to what I want it to be. I'm going to set my first box to the finished print page that I have. I'm going to do my second box and do the same size because I'm going to be using the same size paper. Now what you want to do is take the boxes and you want them to overlap, but don't cut off your very edges of your images. You can see what I'm doing here. Once you're done doing that, what you want to do is press photo, split image as a photo. That's what I'm going to do. And then you press smart split. What that does is the software is going to do its magic and create a split of an image that will be its most natural split. Also, I would like to note that when we do the smart split, what you want to do is make sure and choose what type of garment you're using. That does play a really big factor in how the image is split. Once you're done doing that, you just want to press save, and then it will do this little box. Then you just press yes. And then it's going to head back over into the Essentials software, and it's going to give you the 2 printed pages that you're going to need to print. Same thing as before. As we wait for everything to load, what you want to do is take your transfer sheet, and we're going to load this into the bypass tray. Then heading back over into the software, you just click one of the pictures that you need to print and then press print. Wait for that to print. And then what you need to do is go back over into the software, click on the other picture that you still need to print, double click on that, load the bypass tray with another transfer sheet, and then press print. And then you wait for that to get done printing. Okay, so now it's time to press our transfers onto our garments. I would like to know here before I start that following the directions for pressing your items together is essential. First, heating up our heat press. What I want you to do is set it to 310 degrees for 120 seconds. Then what I want you to do is make sure the pressure is set to low, and I want you to close the lid to your heat press to heat up the bottom platen of your heat press. This is very important. When your heat press is done being heated up, you can open up the lid to your heat press. When you do that, you should see a lot of steam coming off of the bottom portion of your heat press. This is perfect. This is going to make some really good transfer sheets, okay? First, what we have to do is technically what was printed out of the printer is not a DTF print. We have to marry a transfer sheet to it, which is the B side or the second step of this process, okay? So what you want to do is take your transfer sheet and you are going to put the shiny side facing down. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the adhesive, the side B, and you're going to place that down on top of your printed sheet that you just printed. There should be these type of lines. Those should be facing towards you. Then what you want to do is either take some craft paper, or I have a black cotton cover. You want to put that over the top of your 2 pieces of paper that you just put onto your heat press. Now what you want to do is make sure and set your heat press to medium pressure. At this point, what you're going to do is you're going to press these 2 things together, and we are going to marry these 2 sheets together. You're going to press this for 120 seconds. Now, when the 120 seconds is done, what you want to do is grab yourself some heat resistant gloves and open up the lid. Then you just want to take a clean white cloth and just rub your transfer together. This just makes it tolerable to touch. And then what you want to do is peel off the white paper away from the printed sheet that we printed from. This is going to take a little bit of finesse. What I have learned is that keeping it on the hot platen of your heat press is going to help. And then you just want to roll away the white paper away from the printed paper in a nice evenly rolled fashion. And then try and keep a lot of pressure on the bottom paper just so then it doesn't, if you don't do this step correctly, what will end up happening is your final image will come up with that white paper. This is why pressure is so important when we press this, and keeping it nice and warm is so important, but also peeling away that piece of paper does take a little bit of finesse. I can tell you right now, though, it's not hard. It may look like it's difficult, but it's not. This is what the finished image looks like after you put the transfer on there. Looking really good. So at this point, what you need to do is cut off any of the excess transfer sheet. This just helps to make sure that you don't have any excess transfer that could possibly go onto your garment. Then what you want to do is grab your garment, because at this point in time, we are getting ready to either have a really good garment or a messed up garment. I'm just joking. I didn't mess up any type of garments on this project. I'm going to fold mine in the direct middle, because that's just how I know how to place HTV designs, is you take the middle and you pinch the middle things. That's just going to create a crease. Then I'm going to take my garment and I am going to fold that in the middle and heat a line through the middle of my garment. Okay. When I'm done doing that, I'm going to lay my garment completely open and I'm going to have a line directly in the middle of my garment. I am going to line up my line on my garment to the pinched lines that I did on my transfer. At this point, what you want to do is keeping the temperature on the temperature that we've already set it to, 310 degrees. What you want to do is now set your heat press to 30 seconds. I would suggest keeping it at the same pressure as what we originally pressed our transfer mirroring sheets together, and that was like medium to high pressure. And you are only going to press this for 30 seconds. Oh, also cover this with craft paper. If you have used traditional HTV in the past, you will want to peel off the transfer tape very quickly, like when it's warm. Do not do that with this stuff. We are going to do a cold peel. If it is warm or hot, it will not be a good print. So you want to make sure and have this completely cool before you peel. When you do that, your transfer paper or that clear sheet should come up without any issues, leaving behind a beautiful design that's on your t-shirt. Now, before we do anything more, if you have used traditional HTV just with that type of process, what we want to do is repress the garment. The reason for that is when we take off that transfer tape, what ends up happening is when we take it off, the gravity we were pulling off that transfer tape tends to want to tug also onto your design that you just put on there and like lift it up. That could cause some washing problems. So what you want to do is repress this. You're going to repress it for about 20 seconds. You want to cover it though with craft paper, or you want to use the iColor T-Seal. This is going to give your design a matte finish. If you use craft paper, you're going to have a shiny finish over the top of it. You want to wait a couple seconds for the shirt to cool a little bit. That just ensures that you don't pull up the decal that you just repressed onto the shirt. And then when you're done doing that, you just peel off either your craft paper or that T-Seal paper. And when you're done, you are going to have the most beautiful shirt all within less than 5 minutes. Perfect on a dark colored t-shirt with absolutely zero weeding. This ended up turning out fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And I just wanted to show you that I did get a second good t-shirt, my second try. So doing the same steps that we did the first shirt, we do it for the second shirt. This time we just have the 2 transfer sheets versus the single one, using the same steps and process that I did before from start to finish, following the directions that they give you for this product. I do want to note that this is very important. A lot of people that I have talked to about this printer, they have complained that that there's a learning curve or that it's hard to use or whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you follow the directions, you're not going to have any issues, I promise. Now look at the end shirt. My second shirt, my second try, absolute perfection.
So what do you think of my brand new printer? Are you wowed? Because I know I am. I'm so wowed that I actually went ahead and spent over $100 on blanks at Jiffy Shirts so I can make a bunch of t-shirts for myself, because this is exactly what I've been wanting to do. Make a whole bunch of really cool t-shirts that doesn't require any type of weeding. Oh, also forgot to show you, because earlier when I did the intro to this video, I showed you these shirts, and when I had shown these on my other social media, a lot of questions about washwear. I actually just took these out of the dryer, okay? These have been washed and they wash perfectly. No issues with any of them. This right here may be a little wrinkly, and you can just put a little bit of craft paper on that and just like run, you know, like straighten out the wrinkles. But like, look at that. We're gonna stretch this. This looks so stinking good. In love. Can't wait to get to more crafting. Also, I need those sublimation toners. Why? Because I am going to start making some really cool sublimation projects now that I have a printer that is going to guarantee me a good print every single time. So check back with me when I do a whole bunch more sublimation projects. I'll see you on the next one.